All right, we're gonna rock this out here in the afternoon. Finish out our day real strong with AJ Roberts. How's your day been so far? Anyone got an idea or two? Anything good going on there? So, like I said, a large diversity of speakers, presenters, and there's gonna be a lot of good stuff. So, I'm gonna bring up AJ in just a second. I have something, we'll do something fun for him. But before I bring him up, I just want to talk about why AJ and I have partnered up on Underground and Internet Lifestyle. I've talked a lot about long-term relationship building and things like that. Like when I met AJ, he was like, I came in there into a very private mastermind group and shared a lot of stuff with those guys. And then at one point the conversation was like, hey, Yannick, so what do you need? And I told him, I'm like, I have all this content, I have all this different stuff I'm doing, and I'm not really getting it out there as much as I could. And one guy followed up, and that was AJ, and he's like, hey, I'll just put all this online for you, I'll take care of it. And I'm like, cool, should I pay you? He's like, no, I'll just do it for you, and I'll take care of it. And so he did some of that, he did some more things like that. And then I started, just figuring out what he was doing and what his background was. I mean, he's been marketing director for a couple different brands. He's launched a ton of different products, a lot in the fitness space, in the health space. He's amazing with certification. He does a kind of a great job, and why we partnered up is he does a great job where I'm really good at the big picture and the vision. He's really good at executing around getting funnels created and the stuff on the ground that you really need. And one of the things that I really feel like we can use some help on is this idea of resistance and sometimes of not, it's not quite procrastination because that's not what resistance is. And AJ's going to come talk about that. And like I said before, if you didn't know, so AJ used to be literally the world's strongest man, like world record holder, strongest man kind of thing. And now he's working on becoming the world's fittest man. And so he'll tell you a little bit about kind of like his Superman story and where kryptonite was to Superman and his, kind of his up and down story there. I think it's going to be really fascinating for those of you that are trying to build an ideal internet lifestyle business. And it's going to be pretty good. But we can't welcome them up yet. We got to do something fun and cool. So everyone just stand up for one quick sec. Let's get a little more energy going in the room. Remember the movies where like Rudy, like the slow clap? So we're going to do a little slow clap into a crescendo. All right, so let's, I should probably need it loud, but all right, someone lead us off in a slow clap. Yeah. Slower and faster. There we go. Rudy, AJ. Yeah, I got a clicker for you. You got a clicker?
What's this?
Special
clicker.
Surprise.
Oh yeah, I'll need this. So I'm not really a slides guy. Typically I have flip charts up and just write all over them. But last night I decided to throw some slides together. This presentation has been in my head for a while. But as Yannick says, I do a lot of stuff. And I've always been behind the scenes. If you were here last year, you heard my story. I'm a copywriter, funnel creator, basically a marketer. Most of you, like me, have probably done it all yourself. Maybe you outsource it, not. But I'm not here to talk about any of that because the truth is none of that really matters unless you can get out of your own way and pursue your ultimate dream. So these two books inspired this. It's by the same guy, Steven Pressfield, The War of Art and Do the Work. And basically, this is what most entrepreneurs struggle with. And I don't care if you haven't made any money online or if you're making 7 figures. I guarantee you're still struggling with what I'm covering in this. So if you want to know more about this, these are the books that inspired this presentation. So the biggest thing in marketing that you control is what's between the ears. And what I mean by that is the brain. So we can have all these tactics, we can have all these tools, we can have these secrets and tricks and strategies and all that, but none of that matters unless we can control our own brain, okay? And this is the biggest thing that we struggle with, and we all struggle with this. And the biggest thing we struggle with is, like Yannick said, resistance, okay? And this is resistance against our true calling, our higher power, what it is we're meant to do, okay? We resist that. Resistance is covert. You can't see it. It's internal, centralized. It's in us. It is hidden from the world. It's cunning. It's clever. It comes up when you least expect it, and it's cruel. It doesn't give a shit who you are. It's coming for you. It's cold-blooded. It's going to get you no matter what. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter how much success you had. It's going to get you. Every single person will face this, has faced this, will continue to face this. There is no escaping the resistance that we face. There is no getting away from it. There is no running away from it. And like I said, it doesn't care if you're a beginner, if you're an intermediate, if you're advanced. It doesn't care if you're just starting out or if you've made millions of dollars online. It just doesn't care. And it's consistent. It comes back time and time and time again. And when you think you've put a cap on it, when you think you've got it under control, guess what? Here it is again. I'm here again, and now you have to battle me again. You have to go to war again with it. And it's crucifying. It's out to kill you. It's out to destroy your entire world. So, as many of you know, Yannick just said, I was a world record powerlifter, strongest man in the world at 308 pounds. I walked around at 320 pounds weight class. But amongst all the success, when I reached the world record, something I chased, the journey I'd been on, when I finally arrived, I realized, now what? And I went through a very self-destructive phase. Quit working with the guys I was working with. We built 12 very, very, very successful businesses, making more money than anyone I grew up with, any of my friends. But I felt guilty. Was in an unhappy relationship that I primarily made unhappy myself. Ended up going through a divorce. And I remember sitting there I had this huge house, 5-bedroom house, 2 master bathrooms, swimming pool, pool house, huge basement bar. It was beautiful in Ohio. But I remember I went away for the weekend, came home, and all that was left in my house, literally, was my couch and a TV. That was it. All my clothes were on the floor. There wasn't even coat hangers for my clothes. Actually, I think there was 1 fork left in the dishwasher. So, that was my low point. And this was after 10 years of training my heart out every single day, pushing through boundaries and barriers, going beyond what anyone else would do in order to achieve what I thought was the ultimate success. But here's the thing. Along the way, as I continued to gain weight, and the reason I gained weight was, for those that don't know, as you gain weight, you gain strength because your leverages change. And I was addicted to that strength. And I built myself into, let's say, a drag race car. So I was good at one thing and one thing only. If you took me off of that drag, I couldn't do anything else. But along that journey, I knew that that wasn't me, okay? But I continued to sacrifice and ignore those little voices in your head that were telling you to go this way, telling you to get out while you can, to stay healthy. And so I would try to go on a diet, and then before long, here I am eating fast food 4 or 5 times a day, okay? And when I finally woke up and finally decided to make a change and to stop fighting what my core was telling me to do, my world began to drastically change. But all of this was fueled by fear. Me getting to my break point was all because I was too freaking scared to step into who I was supposed to be and who I was born to be. I was scared of debt. I was terrified that I wouldn't make money and that I wouldn't be able to pay my bills. I didn't want to go bankrupt, okay? And these are fears that people, and you may have, and it may be keeping you from making decisions. We're scared of losing it all. But the truth is, bankruptcy, debt, as you heard from Dan Reutemann with his company, $80 million company, show how much debt he was in order to build that company. Donald Trump, guy's been bankrupt, I think, 3 or 4 times. And I believe there's a period after you go bankrupt where you can't go bankrupt again. This has happened over a long period of time with this guy. And here he is now, one of the richest guys there is. Scared of poverty. You know, once we've tasted money, once we've tasted success, it's hard to go back to not having that, even if what we're doing isn't really our true passion. It's very easy to cling to these things because they start to determine your personality. And you're scared that if I give that up and I go through that struggle again, and I have to work 40 hours a day, or I have to grind, and I'm the one in the trenches, that I'm not going to live this lifestyle I've become accustomed to. But again, if we're not doing what we're meant to do, it's just going to eat away slowly, and the voice will get louder and louder. I was scared of embarrassment. I didn't want to let people down. I was scared that I was going to embarrass myself and have to go running back to those people that I was working with before. So I clung to them for years beyond what I wanted to. And a lot of people are scared of this. They may have business partners. They may be working for someone else. And they're scared that if it doesn't work out, then what am I going to do? I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to be stood there at the end of the day groveling and begging for my job back. And then, of course, there's this selfishness thing, especially if you have a family. This is where it gets tough. You know, when we're making money, or when we're going along in a regular job and having some success, again, if it's not in the direction we want, we cling to those things, especially if our family depends on it. We don't want to let our wives down. We don't want to let our children down. We don't want to let those of us around who depend on us, we don't want to let them down. And so again, we withdraw. And we have this true calling, but we resist, and we resist. And resistance starts to win. And of course, failing's the big one. You know, what if I take this leap of faith? What if I jump off the edge of the cliff and I don't succeed? Then what? Then what am I going to do? And of course, we don't want to betray our friends, the people around us. You know, as you begin to change in your journeys, your friends begin to change, those you hang around with. And it's hard to hang out with old high school buddies and friends from the past when your life no longer is congruent with what's going on with them. It's hard to stay connected. And so we feel like we're the ones who've changed, therefore we've betrayed those people. And I don't want to be that guy. I trained at Westside Bible. It's the strongest gym in the world, and I was part of a team. And for me to step out into what I believed I was meant to be as a human meant betraying this team that had supported me and built me into this world record holder. Okay? For me to leave the jobs I was in meant leaving these 2 guys that flew me from Spokane, Washington to Kentucky at 22 years of age, gave me a job at their health club, allowed me to run the personal training department, within 11 months run their entire health club, and then continue on with them in the field of coaching, offering services to both business to business and to personal trainers and to end users, and have the success with them. I felt like I'd be betraying them to step out and follow my dreams. And so these things kept me, and it built, and it built, and it built. And like I said, I got to a point, I was 320 pounds. I was on the stage at 320 pounds last year. Okay, so this is not that long ago. A week after the event, I lifted in my last ever powerlifting competition, because at the event I realized I could not be the person I was not meant to be any longer. 1 week later, I competed the last time, hit a 1,205-pound squat, still the biggest squat at Westside Barbell. My name is still on that board. Probably get wiped out tomorrow because it's a big competition and they're competing, but a year later, it's still there. But I've removed myself from that. Last year's event sparked that. The image I had of who I would become was totally against the person I was at the time. I was scared of that. I was scared of what that meant, what responsibilities came with that, you know? When you're the strongest guy in the world, people ask you about strength, but I trained under the best strength coach in the world, so they went to him. What happens when you start losing weight and you spark a movement and other people start following you. That's scary. Now I had responsibility for other people's health and well-being. And I was comfortable where I was. You know, I couldn't make it through the night. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't get a good night's sleep. I had severe sleep apnea. I'd wake up choking myself literally to death. And I was terrified to go back to sleep. But in some weird, twisted way, I was comfortable. And we get to that point in our lives where our business may be choking us, maybe stopping us from living the life we've always really, truly dreamed of. But we hold on to it because we're comfortable. You see, relationships are the same way. People hold on to relationships. They want to end the relationship, but they continue on that path. And so we become comfortable. And then we fear the unknown. And I was scared. I didn't know what would happen. Did I lose my identity if I changed the person I had become? You know, my followers, the people who believed in me, would look at me different. So what did that mean? You know, how was I going to appear to those people? What was going to be the result? And I didn't want to be wrong on this. I didn't want to chase a different dream and a different goal and not get it right. So I didn't jump for literally over a year because what if what I thought was right was wrong? And so I continued to search for the right way to do it. And the truth was, and I'm still terrified of this, and, you know, I've been on the stage a weekend, but I was dreading speaking, even though I've been up here again, because success is the thing we are really scared about. What if we actually succeed? What if we become that vision that we've dreamed about our whole life? What does that mean? And so I was terrified of success, and I know so many people I talk to are so scared to push themselves to that next level and succeed because of what that success brings and how will they handle it, you know? And so we fear all these things, and I started to go on this journey of why. Why am I so scared and so terrified to step into my true calling, the thing that was eating away at me, the thing that I dream about, the thing that I'd write goals about? Why was I procrastinating? Why was I waiting around? Why wasn't I taking action? Why was I continually putting food into my body that I knew was not good for me? Why was I continually avoiding opportunities that I had to start to move towards the direction I wanted to go in business? And so the truth was, I had these resistance because anytime we have a higher purpose, anytime our true calling is there, resistance creeps in and wants to prevent you from that. Resistance is a bitch, and it does not like us. And so the more you begin to understand what your higher purpose is, the more you begin to tune into what it is you're meant to do, the bigger the resistance and the bigger the barriers you'll put in place. And so as I began to move closer to what I wanted to do, and as I began to, I guess, deconstruct my life and move away from those things, I clung to powerlifting. And that was the last thing to go. And like I said, I continued for close to a year powerlifting because it was my identity. And I had taken all the other steps and removed all these things that would begin to, you know, move me in the direction I wanted to go. But powerlifting was that thing, and I began to clung to it harder and harder and harder, and I had more success there. But it was the thing that was keeping me from becoming the person I believed I was supposed to be. And so it shows its form, resistance shows its form in many ways. It creates distractions for you. It creates obstacles. It comes up with Facebook and Twitter and MySpace again. And we have all these things that begin to distract us in terms from what we're supposed to do. And, you know, I needed to get healthy and build a business, and yet I would get phone calls from people, hey, do you want to go out and eat? You know, that's a distraction. You know, You want to go watch a movie? Do you want to do all these things? And so these are distractions, and resistance put these in the way. Your feelings you start to have emotional roller coasters, you know? And you really are torn one way and another way, and one day you're happy, and the next day you're depressed, you know? And you can't understand it, and it's what's going on with this. And it's because our body is rejecting what we're supposed to do. And then like our emotions, and then our actions. So we know we're supposed to write the article. We know we're supposed to send the email. We know we're supposed to hire someone to build the website. But we put these things off. We put roadblocks in the way. We'll sit for 4 or 5 hours ourselves trying to figure something else out when we're not a graphic designer. We're not a coder. We're not an email copywriter. But we'll sit and we'll battle and we'll try and we'll do all these things and we'll create all of these objects that just stand in the way. But it can be beaten. Okay? If it couldn't, we wouldn't have people doing what they do. I wouldn't have gone from 320 pounds to 245 right now. I still want to lose more weight. And every day there's been resistance. Just this week being here in DC, being away from my routine, getting to the gym, continuing to eat healthy, it's been a challenge. Things have been thrown in my path. And I don't always make the right choice. Okay? You're not always going to make the right choice. But once you know the direction you're going, you may get off the path a little bit, but you'll jump right back on, and you'll jump right back on fast. So back to this picture real quick. This is a weight loss picture, but this embodies really the transformation over the last year in my entire life. You can just see, if you look at my face, that was me on stage in front of the biggest audience I ever stepped on. And it was a tough time for me. I was embarrassed. I wasn't happy with who I was. And I really didn't have any energy. Last year, I didn't participate in any of the extra activities we had. I went to bed early because I couldn't stay awake. I was exhausted. And then this was a couple of weeks ago, speaking at my friend Sammy's event. And I participated in everything. We had an amazing time. I had full of energy. And I just carry myself differently. But that's because everything I'm doing is in alignment and it's pushing me in the right direction. And what's crazy is the universe, or whatever you believe is your higher power, supports you in these decisions in such a magnetic way that things begin to happen that is just unbelievable, that you can't even imagine. My friend Geb's here. He's running around with the camera. Raise your hand back there. This kid last year was here, shot an amazing video for us. And then this year he worked with Tony Robbins. He worked with Tim Ferriss. His calling is to make incredible video. He knows that. He's so passionate about it. When you talk to him, his eyes light up about video production and all these things that some of us don't care about. But you know how he got Tony? You know how he was the first one? 30 years? 30 years, no one else is coming from the outside of their organization and filmed their events, apart from Oprah. You know how he got him? He sent an email. And he followed up. And somehow, that email got to the right person at the right time, and Tony's crew is flying him around, him and his crew around. They're shooting videos. They're doing all these amazing things. But it's because when we're on the right path, when we're going in the right direction, we magnetically attract all of these things that propel us. It's like, how many of you seen Finding Nemo? You know when they get, is it what's that stream, Zipstream or whatever? Gulfstream. And they get in that, takes off. And you hear about these guys, they're showing you how fast their businesses took off, right? You hear about Stefan with Tower paddleboards, how that spike in their business. Jordan Belfort said something to me a long time ago. I never understood at the time. He says, you don't get rich quick, but when you get rich, it happens fast. Okay? And what I've found and what I've seen, and I study success, and I study guys like Yannick, study guys like Dan Kennedy, all these guys, is there is this period of time they go through where they're trying to figure stuff out, and they have success. And they do make money. You don't have to be broke and not be on the right path. You can be making money and just be torn. And when they finally figure out what they're supposed to do, it just goes, and it takes off. And so the way we do that, the way we get over that really is there's 9 laws to overcoming resistance. And this is really, it's really basic stuff. And the book, The War of Art, there's a quote in there, and I'm going to misquote it, I know it, but there's a quote in there that says, the difference between a pro writer or good writer and a novice writer is not the knowing what to write, it's the sitting down to write it. And we hear a lot about action and taking action and moving forward, and we gotta go, 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 go. And I believe in that. But the problem is, we'll set ourselves up, and we won't take the action because of the resistance. And so we'll come to these conferences, we'll take amazing notes, we'll hear from different speakers. You'll hear speakers focus on one thing. Don't go try to do everything. And yet we'll go away, and we won't do anything. And we'll go to the next conference searching for that magic answer, that thing that's going to put us over the edge. And it's not going to come from sitting in a conference. It's going to come from sitting down and actually doing it. Okay? That's the secret. You think someone who's wrote 10 books, sat down and wrote 10 books without any stuff that went in the trash? You know how many pages they probably wrote that never made it in the book? You know how many drafts they had? You know how many books they don't even publish? You don't... Getting to that next level is not through tips and tools and strategies and breakthroughs like that. Getting to that next level is about sitting down and doing what it is you're supposed to do. So the first thing we need to do is we need to be aware. We need to be aware that resistance is going to set in. We need to be aware that it is a cosmic force we are battling against. We're at war. Success, to be successful, you have to go to war. You have to be prepared to go to war against resistance. You have to be prepared to fight your inner demons that are telling you, do something else, don't do what is going to take you where you're going to go. Okay? We just have to be aware of it. Once we're aware, when it crops up, okay, you want a battle. Let's go. Let's dance. And you can fight through it. You got to know your why. Why are you doing this? So I grew up and I had no money. When I mean I had no money, I mean I literally had no money growing up. I remember, so to get the bus to school, the school was like 2 miles away, and I used to walk to school every day. And the cool kids would catch the bus, so I wanted to catch the bus. And it was 20 pence. I grew up in England, so it was 20 pence, which is probably like, back then was like 12 cents. So it's like pennies, right? Excuse me. I remember going into my mother's purse to steal 20 pence. She told me she had no money. I thought that was lies. Just didn't want to give me money for the bus. So I went into her purse to steal 20 pence. And my mom literally had nothing in her wallet. No cash, no change, nothing. And I did that several times growing up. Not proud of that, but there was never any money. My friends would go to movies. I couldn't go. And I remember as a kid not having the nice clothes, not having the nice things. And I remember thinking to myself, I never want my kid to go through that ever. And as I've grown, I realized I never want anyone else's kids to go through that either. And that's why I choose to be a leader. That's why I choose to try to inspire, to help build businesses. And it's funny, I've built over 15 six and seven figure businesses. And someone said to me, how come you've never built just your own? How come you're always working with other people? And I think it's because I put more value in helping someone else achieve their goals sometimes than I do in my own. But the truth is that's my why. I don't want some kid to ask their parents for someone and them not to be able to provide for them. And that's my biggest why, okay? So know your why. This is straight from the book War of Art, Become a Professional. So professionals sit down and do it. They understand that crap might come out, but they understand and practice. Okay? They understand that you have to have a plan. They understand that you have to take the correct steps to move forward. They understand in training and preparing and going to war. So this is the formula. It's the Burchard's formula. D times V times Fs is greater than resistance. So D is dissatisfaction. Most of us are in this state, dissatisfied with where we're currently at, unhappy with what we've achieved. We haven't reached what we want to reach. And it's important to enjoy the journey, but there has to be a destination. And if we're not where we want to be, there should be some dissatisfaction. If you're truly, completely happy with where you're at, stop chasing something and start living the life you want to live. But I believe most of us are dissatisfied with where we're at. We have to have a vision. We have to know what it is we want to get to. For me, I started, we had Paul talk earlier with his arm harmonics and meditation. So I started meditating, which was really odd to me because I grew up as a Christian, and meditation was like this, sacrilegious thing, like you don't do meditation. But what I started to do was just shutting up and listening to myself. And when I started to do that, these visions and these ideas begun to become clear. And so you've got to know what your vision is. And sometimes you have to sit in silence and listen to yourself. And allow your head to bounce off the walls, allow your head to go crazy, because it will try to stop you tuning in. But if you wait, and you listen, and you wait some more, it begins to come clear. And then we have to take the frickin' first steps. Most of us are dissatisfied. Most of us know where the heck we want to get to. But most of us have not taken those first steps. So we have to take those first steps. And that's what a pro does. You don't become a professional overnight. You think an NFL player just woke up when he was 8 years old and said, I'm going to be an NFL player tomorrow, and then just cruise his way through life? You know? You think Michael Jordan, when he got cut from his high school basketball team, thought to himself, that's no big deal. I get chosen next year. I don't need to work on my game. No. He took the first step and started practicing. He didn't know he was going to end up playing for Chicago Bulls, winning all those titles, being the best basketball player to ever live. He didn't know that. He wanted to be that. He didn't know he was going to become that. But he didn't wait to find out. He started going to work. We got to go to work. And if we do that, we'll beat resistance. So once we know that, once we take the first steps, we got to remember to stay clear-headed and have complete focus. We call it shiny object syndrome in internet marketing, obviously. But in real life, everything's a shiny object. The new relationship, the new car, the new house, the new city you can move to, the new computer. All of these things can distract us. But when we're completely focused, day in, day out, on the tasks that will take us towards where we want to go, and it's unbreakable. You're not fucking around doing other stupid shit that you don't need to do. Okay? You'll get there. Remove distractions. Guys, Google Chrome, I love Google. Google's my favorite friend because they have all of these plugins that I can set up to block me from going to all the distractions. And you know what's funny? When you do that, you'll find yourself going to those websites. And you'll find yourself getting mad at the plugin because now it requires you to type in a 102-character code. I'm not supposed to be here. Let's get back to work. I'm not supposed to be procrastinating, scrolling through my news feed, trying to find something of interest. But I haven't found anything in 3 days. But I'm going to keep scrolling until I get to last night's post. And then I'll get up this morning to go to work. Okay? Put your phone in the other room so that when you get up in the morning, you don't lie in bed for an hour tweeting and emailing people back that you don't need to email back. You have to actually get up and go get it. And then each day, find what specific time you're alive. When is it you can go to work and be the most productive? I love the internet lifestyle because I get to choose when I work. I get to determine what hours. I don't have an office to go to. I don't have anyone I answer to in terms of hours. I set my own schedule. If someone wants a phone call, I can tell them exactly when we can have a phone call. I can work wherever I want to work. My time, my specific time is in the evenings. So I get to play all day, and then in the evening I go to work. But that's because that's when I come alive. That's when I can sit down and have complete focus. And everyone in here, I think, has their own business. But if you're working from 9 to 5 because, maybe you have employees and things like that, is that serving you in the best way possible? Is that serving your employees? Are your employees producing the quality work that they really could produce? Or do we need to find specific times that people come alive? And I believe if you know when your specific time is, and you can stick to that, and you can protect that, and those hours become sacred, nothing else goes on, you will 10x your business quicker than you ever have before. Because you're not tempted by these other things, because that's when you're on fire. You hear people, my buddy, Marshall was up here. Marshall, man, I invited Marshall over for Thanksgiving dinner. He lives in San Diego. I don't have family. He doesn't have family. So me and my girlfriend had a few friends over, same situation. Marshall was invited. 2 o'clock was the start time for Thanksgiving dinner, and no Marshall. So I tried to cool him. I tried to text him, no Marshall, no Marshall. He finally gets a hold of me like 4 o'clock, apologizing. He was asleep, but he was asleep because his sacred hours are when everyone else is in bed. His sacred hours are between like midnight and like 4 a.m. or something. And that guy gets more done in those 4 hours than anyone I know. Because no one else is up to distract him. There are hardly any posts on Facebook at that hour. But those are sacred hours for him. Those are protected. He wasn't going to give up his most precious time just to make Thanksgiving dinner. And I respect that because I understand the importance of those sacred hours. Okay? And so, yeah, we were sad he didn't make lunch with us, and to celebrate with us. But I'm from England. My girlfriend's from Canada. So Thanksgiving really has little meaning to either of us. It was just a time for a social gathering. So I respected that he didn't sacrifice his sacred time just to please us in a social setting. And we're in business here. We're not trying to build things to change the world and change people's lives to be socially popular, to boost our own ego. We're here because we believe that we can change. We can change the world in some degree. And that starts with us. So you have to know your specific time. And then you have to jump. You have to jump. This is where most people, they'll do these first 6 things, but then they'll never jump. They'll continue to plan and to look for the best strategy or the best technique. Do you notice something about all the people that came up here over these last 2 days and tomorrow too? None of them do social media, pay-per-click, videos. None of them do all of that stuff. They do 1, maybe 2 things. And they have 7-figure businesses. And I know a lot of you in the audience probably the same thing. You're an expert in one area. And obviously you want to diversify, and you don't want to, Dan Kennedy says the most dangerous number is 1. But it's amazing how many people have built businesses on 1. And so once you get to a certain level, then you can diversify. Then you have money to pay people who are geniuses to manage your social media, to do pay-per-click if that's not your thing. But figure out the one thing you're good at and then jump all in at it. Because that's where you're going to have the power. That's where it's going to come together. And like I said, you're going to be magnetic to the universe. And people are going to show up. Opportunities are going to show up that you never thought possible. I switched from powerlifting to CrossFit. I clearly have an extremist problem. I can't do anything just to do it. So if I'm going to get in shape, I have to have a reason. For those that don't know what CrossFit is, it's the competition to be the fittest man in the world. So I jump all in. You know what happens? I get a phone call from the company Muscle Farm. Some of you, if you watch UFC, will know this company. They're a big, big supplement company. They dominated the UFC world. Now they're coming for fitness. Fully sponsored. I get an email, from a guy saying, hey, you should email this guy at Reebok. They want to send you some stuff. Cool. So now I have Reebok as a sponsor. I get shoes and clothes shipped every single month to help me pursue this goal of being the fittest person. Because now I'm on the path that I'm supposed to be. Now I'm being that person I'm supposed to be. I knew I was never supposed to be 320 pounds. But now I'm leading this charge. Powerlifters I've known for years are figuring out being overweight is not healthy. They're following my lead. You know, I'm inspiring other people through the weight loss story. And the universe is supporting that. Business-wise, I'm getting opportunities. Random people that I worked with 5 years ago emailing me saying, hey, I heard what you're up to. Can I introduce you to these guys? Big ad agencies to write copy for them. Things that I'd only ever dreamed of before, but now I'm on that right path. They're just showing up. It's very odd. Like Nick said, he got a phone call from a guy who Hawaii who just showed up because he was doing one thing the best he could do. And he jumped in. He didn't wait. And so it's weird. I also have a shoe sponsor, for a barefoot shoe sponsor who makes barefoot dress shoes. You can see him tonight. I'm wearing them in my costume for Chief Quimby. But they're the most comfortable dress shoe. I have a prototype, but the new ones are beautifully made shoes. But all these things are happening. And it's weird because that resistance is starting to set in. Do I deserve this stuff? Am I worthy of this attention from companies when I haven't even, I'm like an average CrossFitter. I'm just now starting to beat people in my box. My buddies over here, Garrett and Jeff, will work out with me and kick my butt. These guys are in shape. But I have more attention on me, and a lot of it is because of what I did before. But I truly believe it's because I have so much conviction towards what I'm doing. And I've been interviewed, and when I talk about it, that comes through, and people know ultimately that I'm going to end up where I want to be, and they want to start supporting me early on. Okay? But I jumped in, and I practice everything daily. It becomes a ritual daily. You can't just do this once in a while. This has to be a daily practice. After 3 weeks, it becomes a habit. Once it's a habit, it's hard to break. So the reason you check your Facebook first thing in the morning and you can't stop doing it is because it's a habit. If you haven't read the book Habits, read it. You'll understand habits a lot better, and you'll start to identify all your bad habits. And again, same thing with habits. Once you're aware of them, you can begin to change them. But these things are habits, and if we practice it daily, it's hard to break. But if we practice good things daily, and they're hard to break, and we start to change all the bad habits into good habits, quickly we get to where we want to go. And the reason people go and have amazing success is because they do this. The reason we have young entrepreneurs, 1 year, scholarship winners, really don't have a business. Maybe they do have some success, but are, here to learn as much as they can, and all of a sudden they become seven-figure earners in 1 year, is because the younger we are, the less bad habits we have, because we haven't had those years and years and years. They don't understand that you're not supposed to just go out and start a business and make 7 figures. They've yet to maybe fail. People say, oh, you have to fail fast, you have to fail fast. I don't believe in that. I believe in finding the people who have had the biggest failures, learning from them and not making the same freaking mistakes. So when I go, I'm not going to fail. Okay? And that's my last point, is to hire a mentor. The biggest thing that changed my life was other people seeing the greatness in me and the glimpses that I was showing and then pushing me in the right direction. Not allowing me to give in to resistance, calling me on my bullshit. Oftentimes, it's hard for us to wade through the crap we've surrounded ourselves with and to really see what it is we're meant to do, to really see our true calling, to see the beauty that we possess inside. And so hiring a mentor, to me, is the best thing. And the reason I say hire a mentor, not have a mentor or have a support system, is because unless you have some skin in the game, you ain't going to respect or listen to the frickin' person that's talking to you. There are so many people that will ask for advice, and if you're like me, you'll give, and you'll give. And my best story is really with my parents. My dad's an amateur photographer that would love to be a photographer. He would love to be a professional photographer. He has an amazing creative mind. He used to be a graphic designer at a print company. The company went bankrupt. He's been laying tarmac now for about 5 years. Hard labor. My dad's like 50-something years old. He should not be doing that. So he asked me to help him build a website. So I built him a website for free. I load his pictures up for free. It's been 2 years. He hasn't done anything with that website. Showed him how to use Facebook, how to drive traffic, who to talk to, what to do. Hasn't listened to me. Doesn't respect me as a marketer. I'm his son. But someone else he could pay, they could tell him the exact same thing, and he would do exactly what they told him. And if you have a partner, a wife, or a husband, raise your hand if you've ever told him something, and someone else has told him the same freaking thing, and they went and gone and done it. And you're thinking to yourself, what the heck is going on? It happens all the time. Because the closer you are to someone, the more in the friend zone you are, the less you'll listen to them. And when they yell at you and shout at you and tell you, like, you know, step up your game, you don't listen to them because you see it as an attack. But when you hire someone and you've paid that person to get you results, you listen to them because you believe they're there to support your success. That's why you hired them. And so, where's my buddy Simon? I'm bring Simon up. So grab that mic when you come up. You can come up. Grab the mic. So
in the highly masculine T-shirt.
So my Simon, powerful.
This is a charity, by the way. This is not just some kind of male chauvinist type thing.
So I met Simon at a marketing event a couple of years ago, and we got talking, and he was, I thought, a brilliant marketer. And I literally introduced him to some of the biggest players. I heard his story. He had a book deal with HarperCollins, $150,000 book deal. His product was incredible. And a year and a half later, it was about a year and a half later, he came over to America to the CrossFit Games, and we got talking. And he told me that, I mean, what was the situation when you came over?
When I first met you?
Yeah, the situation.
I think I had the success with the book. I was published by HarperCollins. It was a £120,000 book deal. I positioned myself as an expert really well in England. But I started marketing online, and the Lunchbox Diet site wasn't doing all that great. I've been doing it since 2008, and I just lost my passion for that product. And so I started doing CrossFit, and I reached out to AJ, and we'd already put in place to develop a new product, which is called, so my product was called the Lunchbox Diet. So we decided, I was doing CrossFit, and I wanted to produce a new kind of version of the Lunchbox Diet, which was for CrossFitters. And so, but I wanted to step away from being the expert to being the marketer, because I just lost passion, and I was actually more passionate about marketing. So I stepped away, found a friend of mine who is a nutrition expert, and we launched Paleo in a Box, which is my nutrition product. And so me and AJ kind of, actually one of the big lessons, I guess, which other speakers were talking about this weekend was how to build relationships. And actually me and AJ just hooked up, and I'm standing here today because of CrossFit. It wasn't because of anything else. So we developed the Paleo in a Box product, and we built it on zero budget. So literally, I mean, I lost all my book deal. Like, I had some bad things going on in my life. I lost the book deal. I wasn't earning any money from my Lunchbox Diet internet marketing site. It was just, my passion was gone. I was probably doing $4,000 a month. And so when I went to the other event with AJ, it was like I was trying to find that magic thing. I was trying to find the relationship to catapult me into the stratosphere. But it just didn't happen that way. And so we launched the Paleo product. I hooked up with AJ at the CrossFit Games, and we started talking about the product. And AJ got interested. I mean, he'll probably explain why he was interested in it. But
yeah, so it was a product I was passionate about. And then, you know, Simon, I could tell. I could see the greatness in this guy. When he talked about marketing, the dude was switched on. But like for some reason, like the dots weren't connecting, and so he was like spinning his wheels. And so I started mentoring him. And tell him what I tell you all the frickin' time, man.
Don't be a pussy. He tells me that all the time. And like, to produce new stuff and just, because I have things in my head which I know what to do, but I need AJ to tell me to go and do it. So we wanted to release a new product, and AJ was like, kind of pre-sell it. And I was like, I can't do that. I can't pre-sell this product. It's not even made. And AJ's like, stop being a pussy. So I stopped being a pussy, and it kind of went out well. So anyway, we launched Paleo in the Box in September from zero budget. I'll tell you the quick formula of how we did it, which is I think would probably be quite useful. So what we did was we set up a test group. I went into a big UK CrossFitters forum. We invited a load of CrossFitters to kind of be involved in our test group and surveyed them. So we pulled them into a Facebook group, which is great because then you can start to build a VIP Facebook group with a test group, which enables you then when you've got paying customers to have actually people that are in there so that you're not like the first buyer and go, why the hell no one else is in here? And so we did that, and then we built the product from the needs of the CrossFitter as opposed to us building the product and then thinking, this product isn't for me. We knew it was going to work because we surveyed the athletes before we released it. So we built the product based on the needs. I was going to charge $47 for the product, and it's a video product. And he was like, no way. So we do like 3 payments of $97, and it kind of kills it. So anyway, so we launched in September. To cut a long story short, we're now doing just about 1K a day. So in a short period of time, just having AJ as a mentor to be able to point me in the right direction has just been fantastic. So
you guys can see how passionate he is about what he's produced, right? So he had the passion, and he jumped in, and then I pushed him over the edge. And I continue to push him. And he actually has been staying with me for the last month because he came out to the traffic conversion. I had a 3-day event he came to, and then here. And I've seen him do more in the last month because I kick him every frickin' day. Not that I want everyone to come live with me, but because I've been able to do that, because he was so passionate, he wanted to go to these events, and it was just not something he was going to go fly here, fly back, fly 3 times in 2 months. So, but literally from 4K a month to 1,000 a day in product sales right now, and that just continues to grow and escalate. And the passion that Justin, who's the face of the company as far as the chef, nutritionist goes, he's so passionate about what he's doing. It comes through in the videos. Simon, on the marketing standpoint, is completely passionate about what he's doing in terms of that. And then me pushing him over the edge, they've really grown. And so
I think actually for when I was doing Lunchbox Diet, the difficulty was that I was trying to do the marketing and be the expert and do everything together. And now that I've got Justin as the expert and me the marketer, that's just a really nice combination to have because we really complement each other. And so that's, I think, why it's growing so quickly. I mean, we built the whole business on Facebook. So from the test group, literally zero budget, to pulling people through from a forum, and then AJ telling us to make sure that we reinvest X amount per month back into the business. And so that really kills it. And also doing one big thing for us at the end of last year was doing a challenge. So everyone's doing like paleo challenges. So we did what we call the AMFAT challenge. And in CrossFit, there's like AMRAP, which is as many reps for as many rounds. So I was like, what can I create that's not a paleo challenge and it is like super cool? So I was like, AMFAT, as much fat as you can lose in 90 days. So people just like...
But you didn't want to do that.
I didn't want to do that, no.
And I told you.
So just like, AJ is like, go do it. So we did it. We just completely killed it with that promotion, and now we're just going to roll that out every 90 days because we know it brings in 25K or so. So
thanks, man.
So that was it.
Thanks. So